21 years after this blue whale was buried, scientists expected bones, but they found something that should have been gone.
In the freezing winter of 1987, nature was given a job humans were simply unable to do.
When researchers returned decades later, the first thing they uncovered was not a skeleton. The skin was still there, the blubber was still there, and the smell suggested that time had not finished its work. But how could the tissues of one of Earth's largest animals survive almost 2 decades underground?
To understand the corpse, we first have to understand the extraordinary machine that created it.
A blue whale can approach 30 meters in length and weigh around 200 tons.
On land, a body this massive would face a mechanical problem that the ocean quietly solves.
The water surrounding the whale provides the support that allows its enormous body to exist.
Remove that water, and the same body that dominates the ocean becomes dangerously vulnerable to its own weight. But even the ocean cannot make the blue whale infinitely large.
The first barrier is simple. A bigger body demands more energy. The whale's enormous body survives on creatures so small that entire oceans can sometimes hide them.
The richest feeding grounds appear where ocean currents bring nutrients toward the surface.
Then comes another limit. The extraordinary distance an orca's heart must send oxygen-rich blood.
Inside a body nearly 30 meters long, every heartbeat must serve an enormous biological network.
The challenge becomes even greater when the whale dives, and oxygen becomes a limited resource.
Eventually, even the strongest tissues face a mechanical limit. At some point, adding more mass creates more mechanical stress than the body can safely withstand. The blue whale is not infinitely large. It is precisely as large as its biology allows.
And that extraordinary biology may also explain why its buried body resisted decay.
The thick layer of sand had accidentally created an environment with almost no oxygen.
The sand effectively sealed the enormous carcass away from the atmosphere.
But the environment was only half of the mystery. The whale itself carried another layer of protection. The whale's blubber can form an enormous biological barrier between the outside world and its living tissues. Under the right conditions, the fat can undergo a rare transformation known as adipocere formation. Instead of disappearing like ordinary tissue, part of the whale's fat became a wax-like protective material for the preserved tissues below the sand. It was almost as if time had slowed to a crawl. The strange carcass became something more valuable than a mystery. It became a natural laboratory. The same fat that helped preserve the dead whale helps the living whale survive journeys across entire oceans. The largest animal ever known does not hunt giant prey. It feeds on creatures almost invisible beside it.
Then the whale turns its entire 200-ton body into a feeding weapon.
When that enormous mouth opens, the surrounding ocean becomes part of the attack.
Flexible throat pleats allow the sei whale to expand its body far beyond what its normal shape suggests.
In a single feeding lunge, the humpback whale can engulf an astonishing volume of seawater.
Now the whale faces the impossible task of keeping the food while sending the ocean back.
Its enormous tongue helps generate the pressure needed to push tens of thousands of liters of water back out. Hundreds of baleen plates act like a living filter, separating microscopic food from an ocean of water.
The remarkable efficiency of this feeding strategy allows an enormous body to survive on tiny prey.
A mature blue whale may consume several tons of krill during a productive feeding day. And here is one of the strangest contradictions in the whale's body: an enormous mouth connected to a surprisingly narrow esophagus. Because its prey is tiny, the whale has no biological need for a gigantic food passage.
The energy gained from feeding does more than maintain the body. It powers one of the ocean's most formidable animals.
A warm-blooded animal this large faces another constant threat: losing or gaining too much heat. Its thick blubber acts as a sophisticated thermal barrier against the freezing ocean. But the same insulation that prevents heat loss can create a new problem when the whale works at maximum power. The whale solves this by redirecting warm blood toward areas where excess heat can escape. Its peripheral blood vessels can function like a biological radiator, transferring excess heat into the ocean. And all of that stored energy eventually reaches one extraordinary structure: the blue whale's enormous tail.
A single powerful tail stroke can release an extraordinary amount of mechanical energy.
Against predators, the whale does not need claws or teeth. Its greatest weapon is its size. For a predator, getting close enough to an adult blue whale can be an enormous risk. But the blue whale's most remarkable weapon may not be physical at all. It is sound. By using extremely low-frequency sounds and the ocean's natural deep sound channel, blue whales can send signals across extraordinary distances.